New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Well, hello. It is the Practical Prayer podcast pre-show on New Thought Media Network. I am Bill Marchiony here in Philadelphia. Carol is off in the interwebs trying to get herself untangled from something. There was a technological glitch. Seems to be a lot of that going around these days. So she will be back any minute now, and I am confident that she will return with a great topic to talk about. And also wondering what I'm going to do solo if in fact something continues to not work with her technology. So you guys who've been around here before, you know that the Practical Prayer podcast is the opportunity for us to talk about all things practical prayer. We do this on New Thought Media Network live on Monday afternoons Eastern Time. I guess it's late morning Mountain Time at the network's headquarters. And we get to chat ahead of time about what we're going to talk about what is going on in your mind at this point, and they take comments and suggestions and prayer requests and so forth. And then after a few minutes of that, we record an episode of the Practical Prayer podcast. It goes off into editing land, and it shows up as a regular audio podcast where you get your podcasts in a week or so. We were away last week. I was actually doing a memorial service for a friend of mine and one of my practitioner students. And so we decided, rather than to try to shove extra stuff into doing a recording that we could show, we would rely on the fact that we've done 200 and something episodes of the Practical Prayer podcast and take a little breather and let you guys miss us a little bit. So hopefully you did. Again, if you would like to request a prayer or suggest a topic or have a question, you can put it into the comments on the interactive chat. If you're watching on one of the recordings, then you can go to the website at bethelight.com, be-the-light.com, and there's a section on Practical Prayer Podcast, and you can find a button there where you can make the same sort of a request. So I was reflecting earlier today in the morning group meditation that I do about clavicles. And I'm just sharing this with you. This is something that one of my friends at the Anton retreat last month suggested, is that when you're thinking about your posture, a lot of times people talk about having a string that goes straight up from the top of the crown of their head to the center of the universe. And sometimes it's that same string is from the center of the earth up through the base of your spine and to the top of your head, your crown, and then along out. And the suggestion was, instead of the top of your head, which kind of feels awkward, think about your collarbone, think about your clavicle. This one goes right across here, about having that lift, having that go towards the sky. And it's a different feeling. And it, for me anyway, it lets me feel more connected and more aligned. So even after doing this stuff for years and years and years and years, it's possible to learn something new. I guess it's possible to learn something new. So without further ado, let's welcome Carol back. Are your earpods working now?
No, this is a test to see if how frustrated I can get and still smile. How about that?
I'm loving it.
You know what? It was going. It said, all the lights were going, everything was going. And then I closed this little thing, which shouldn't matter because it says 100% and I can't get it back. So I thought, I don't know, let me just get back here so you don't think I disappeared.
Okay. Well, I was just
And
telling the folks on New Thought Media Network here that you were off dealing with sunspots or technology glitches or whatever. Some of that's been going around lately. So
it's
if you
it's
if you
been
put them back into the little case and you take them back out, they don't reconnect.
Yeah, usually. So everything is 100%. I'm
Okay.
I'm doing that. And does it sound terrible?
No,
Okay.
no. We will have to make it stop echoing, but other than that, we're doing okay.
Okay.
So, and
So
I've got about another minute worth of patience on this. So,
that's 1 minute more than I have. I'm so serious.
all right. So you are still hearing me
Set
through the
up.
speaker in your room.
Yeah.
Okay. Now on your little StreamYard thing, there's a microphone icon with a little up arrow next to it.
Yes. Okay. So well, the microphone has that one.
See, now you just turned something off.
Yeah. Okay.
No, not the microphone itself. Little arrow next to it.
Yeah.
Little arrow pointing up. If you click on that, it will show
Okay.
you what your microphone is and what your speaker is.
Mm-hmm.
If you change the speaker to earbuds or AirPods or however it's identified,
Okay. So this is here. That's right.
yep.
And the
Go ahead.
AirPods aren't showing.
They're not on a list.
They're not on the list. That's what I don't get. They were on the list. Everything was fine until.
All right,
Okay.
I'm going to turn on your echo cancellation.
Okay.
There. Now I should be not hearing myself in your background anymore.
All right.
Say hello.
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 All right.
Is it? It's going to kick in.
You know what? It'll be fine. It's all good. It's working now. Um, so let's change the subject from technology and things about the internet, which normally make us be very frustrated. And every once in a while, I get frustrated that the Zoom meeting doesn't work properly. And then I'll remember back into the good old days in the 90s when in order to have a meeting with somebody, I'd have to like go to the airport and get on a plane and rent a car and then go out to the office.
Yes.
Even with
Yes.
the glitches, the technology is much easier. So what
Yeah.
do we want to talk about today?
Well, a couple of things. I think it has to do with time, and we were talking about AI
Hmm.
a couple of weeks ago, maybe a couple of weeks in a row,
Yep.
but it was how AI has changed everything and the way we do everything. But I spent some time yesterday, um, intentionally, but during while I was doing it, I started thinking, how does this relate to where we are and our conversation tomorrow? And that is, I was watching some concerts on television,
Okay.
and now and then I do that because it's a good zone for me.
Hmm.
And the one thing that makes my heart sing with those concerts is to see all the instruments and the people playing them, and it could be massive amounts depending on the size of the contract. I mean, a concert, and it could be a light show, and it could be all the stuff. And you said, and when we talked about this before, you said, just think now they don't have to load up the vans and those big trucks and do all of that. And I had to agree. AI makes it much easier and much more economical. You
Changes the
know,
model, that's for sure.
it does. But the time that I spent watching the concerts, I thought, I think I still miss this. I know it was a lot.
Hmm.
So how do you work that? You know what I mean? How does that fit in to
I
where
was
we are now? Is that just lost?
I think it's a great question, and let's go ahead and start the episode, and then we will include that in the discussion of all the stuff that's going on, because
Okay.
I like that one, and I have an answer right at the top of my mind, but I don't want to give it away quite yet.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
on your mark, get set, podcast.
A practical prayer is a prayer that works.
These discussions between Reverend Bill Marchiony and Carol Lawrence dive into the details of how it works and how to work it.
Reverend Bill is a New Thought minister and the author of Practical Prayer for Real Results.
Your new life begins with a new thought.
Carol Lawrence is on a spiritual quest, finding the New Thought teaching after decades on the pulpit in 3 different traditional denominations.
I've got some questions.
Together, they're exploring the philosophy and activities that come together from many of the world's religions to create the practical spirituality that is New Thought.
Welcome to the Practical Prayer Podcast. I'm Carol with Reverend Bill Marchiony. This is a crazy moment.
Yeah, we've been dealing with some technology challenges getting started with the recording session today, and that brought up or continued the idea of the good old days and things changing and things not changing and liking the stuff that has happened before, etc. And I loved where you're going with that as being kicked off for me by the technology discussion. So please reframe, and so we can share what you were thinking.
Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, if everybody was with us, we were talking about AI and all the advantages, which are absolutely wonderful, that it's bringing in every part of our lives. But one of the things that I was thinking most about is music, because I love music, and it's just what it is. And I loved the concerts and all of that. So yesterday, I spent some time, getting into my space, and I, keyed up some concerts that I really enjoyed. And I realized, just looking at the concerts, one of the things that most made my heart sing were the different instruments and how they synthesize to bring about a sound and a mood and so much of everything. It was, the violins and the keyboards and the, percussion and everything that now AI replaces. So you made an interesting point when we talked about this before. Now they don't have to haul all of that stuff rented when you're in another country, and you don't have those 18 wheelers bringing stuff up, whatever it is, and all the construction that it takes to make this thing happen. They don't have to do that anymore.
Right.
And what I saw there, and I was so disappointed when I saw it, all the people that played the instruments and had to work together weren't there. They didn't need them. It didn't have to happen.
Well,
And
sort of.
well, they weren't there on stage, so they weren't there. And the thing that I realize is so important to me is collaboration and collegiality. That is so important to me. And in looking at an orchestra, to me, that's collaboration, that's collegiality alive. Right then, it's happening. Everybody has to play their note. They have to be prepared. They have to, be on time so that this will produce the perfect sound.
Yeah.
And now it's not necessary. And I'm looking at these thinking, so now what? The sound is beautiful, don't get me wrong. I'm not against AI. I'm just saying that which was such a beautiful, example of so much is not there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and suggest that AI doesn't replace what was there previously, just like every new technology, every advancement doesn't actually replace what there was before. It just gives us an alternative, and sometimes the alternative is so much preferable that everybody says, well, we're not going to do that old thing anymore. And a classic example is if you whittle the symphony orchestra down to the smallest possible unit, what you've got is a DJ playing a recording of a symphony orchestra. and and you know what? The recording is actually pretty good usually, and if you've got a good sound system, then it can do a pretty faithful reproduction of what the symphony orchestra sounded like. And having spent some time in the recording business, and also my neighbor across the street plays cello with the Philadelphia Orchestra, and and I also spent a fair amount of time as a wedding DJ before I got in the minister business. So are you going to hire a wedding band or are you going to hire me? And the advantage of the wedding band is exactly as you were saying, is it's got some energy. There's something about having guys with a trumpet and a saxophone and a bass player stand in front of the room and like interacting with the crowd and building up the energy and having a band leader and a vocalist and all. And a DJ can do the same sort of thing, but it's on a different level. On the other hand, the DJ is always going to sound like the original record. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That wedding band can sound a lot like the Beatles, but it ain't the Beatles. And it's certainly not Turn It Around and Gloria Gaynor right after that. So, when you have the possibility of something that's the way it was originally created or a new rendition of it, it's just a choice. And sometimes the old opportunity, the old choice, the original, it becomes obsolete. And sometimes it becomes a classic. So I'm going to shut up for a second and let you talk, because that's a lot.
Well, I agree with what you said. 100%. I mean, because otherwise we'd still be in horse and buggy if we didn't evolve
Or wishing
accept
we
it.
could catch a horse.
Yeah, it's something. It just wouldn't be the same. But I still say, because I remember going to the Academy of Music, I remember growing up seeing it and then waiting for when I would be able to go. And you had to get dressed up, and it was an experience beyond an outing, it was an experience. And I remember the first time I saw the orchestra in the orchestra pit. I didn't know anything about that. And the floor, raised up, and there was the orchestra. I remember how that felt. And I was really young then. So the whole experience is exciting. It's the sound, yes. And I appreciate the DJ. But hey, I'm not, and my kids are all into the DJ thing. So I'm not slamming it. I'm just saying it's not, it's different. I'll
It's
I'll
different.
say it that way. It's
I
different.
will completely agree with you that it is different. And we can have a values discussion on whether it's better or not as good. And that is so much subject to opinion that nobody's going to win that argument.
Right. Right.
That becomes that's more about religion than the rest of the show.
Yeah, it is. You're right. It is about choice and preference. And that was just me, I guess, yesterday, getting back into my old. This was my feel good, just to see the orchestra playing, and sometimes they would look at each other, and there were, little things that I noticed. And I said, all that's gone. But I took it to a different level, because to me that was like, um, indicative of other things. It's so when I'm working, I'm expecting or hoping. Now, let me say this. I didn't always get this. I don't know. I think it's probably some crap I made up in my life, that collegiality is important and we're all flowing together and excited about it. And what we produce is because we did this whole thing. I think I was probably daydreaming,
No,
because
no,
I don't, yeah.
there's absolutely some magic in collaboration. And sometimes it's in the performance, When you go to see a band playing live, and the people who are playing are feeding off of each other.
Hmm.
And I've seen bands and orchestras play when they're like right there in the groove and everything is great, and other times where it just goes completely sideways and the people there are like having a bad time and hating each other and wishing it would be over. Same bunch of people, same program, but it comes out differently.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, somebody that is in their teens and 20s, they're not probably not interested in that. But I took piano lessons for years, starting when I was 8. So it is important to me to get it right, and so that I'm able to um, be in sync with the other instruments. And
Hmm.
I never played at the Academy of Music or anything, but I know the importance of that. And I did take that image into corporate America with me. And in corporate America, it plays out a little bit like that too,
Hmm.
because the bottom line is actually the performance.
Right.
So, I had to do my part, and so and so had to do their part. And to me, that was the joy of the whole thing. We pulled it off, and we landed the contract because we did this
Hmm.
together.
Yep. We are here
Um,
and we are ready, and let's get going.
Yeah, and even with that too, you get to know who's not going to be quite up to speed, maybe. So you know that, hey, I'm going to have to pull a little bit harder for this person because whatever, they could
Right.
be sick, they could whatever. And like that's so beautiful to me
Yeah, they're not going to
because
hit they're not going to hit the high note today. So,
yeah, probably not. Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so let's
But
be
I
ready for that.
I see you, I see you, and I just whatever it is, I see you. And the whole thing is to pull this off, and everybody takes a bow,
Yep.
and I like in a dream world about that kind of thing, I suppose. So AI takes that away from me, but I still think AI is amazing,
Okay.
because so much more can be produced, and you don't have to worry about somebody getting sick and all that. I get it,
Okay.
but
Let's take a break and then continue this discussion. And I'm going to change the subject to one of your favorites, which is jazz.
Learn to put practical prayer to work in your life. The steps are simple to learn and let you begin to get real results to create the life of your dreams immediately. Reverend Bill Marchiony's widely acclaimed book, Practical Prayer for Real Results, gives you a clear summary of the New Thought principles behind practical prayer and the series of easy-to-understand steps found in the most effective prayers from religions and spiritual practices all over the world and throughout history. Practical prayer is not a replacement for your religion or practice. It's a technique to make the work you do in consciousness even more effective. The book includes 40 prayers on various topics that you can adapt as needed and use as your own. Practical Prayer for Real Results is available in paperback, Kindle, and audiobook on Amazon or at b-the-light.com. That's b-the-light.com.
welcome back to the Practical Prayer Podcast. I'm Carol, here with Reverend Dr. Bill Marchiony.
We're talking a little bit today about ensembles, about the old-fashioned way of making music together or doing something together. And before we went into the break, I mentioned that we would talk about jazz, which is one of those intersection points for Carol, where that's what got you into radio, and overlapping spirituality with music was through jazz. And jazz is different because jazz played live might be exactly like what was on the recording, but what's on the recording was ad-libbed. It was like let's do some improvisation here. Let's find something that works, and then we're going to record it, and then we'll learn how to play it again later by listening back to the recording. So that's why Birdland sounds the same when somebody plays it now as on the original recording. But before that,
Mhm.
it was like in the moment.
And the in the moment is important, but you get to the moment by, you don't just jump into it or fall into it. You're prepared even for the improv.
Yep.
And, I used to, I don't get as opportunity as much now to go to the jazz clubs, but there was still communication going on. And, people, the musicians were speaking to each other in their own way, and I
Mm-hmm.
really enjoyed seeing that. Uh, it, but like this. I love Kenny G. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to. I don't want to go to an automated Kenny G concert. I want to see Kenny G pick up the saxophone. I want to see him blow it. Because in my mind, look at God. Look at what God is doing. He's playing that saxophone. And if you can't relate to that, everybody can relate to this. Can you imagine what it took for him to be able to do that with the level of excellence that makes you want to pay whatever it is just to listen? That's, to me, that's amazing,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Uh, but again, it's choice, and I can either turn him on television or I can wait till he gets to Atlantic City.
And you bring up an interesting idea, which is when somebody is performing, when they are sharing their gifts, when they're playing the music, they can do it exactly the same way twice, but it's not exactly the same way.
Hmm.
It's different every time. There's a technique in recording called vocal doubling,
Hmm.
which is where the vocalist goes and sings the part, and then they go back and they record again and they sing the part again. And there's enough difference between the two of them that they're not identical, and it adds a lot of richness to it.
Hmm.
And this doubles back into my comment that you can't do the same prayer twice. Yes, we're actually going to talk about prayer at some point today. You can't do the same prayer twice, even if you say exactly the same words right afterwards.
Hmm.
We think, oh, we're repeating this, but to reiterate, you are on the surface of a sphere that's spinning around every 24 hours, and it's 24,000 miles around, and it's going through space around the sun. It takes 365 days to get all the way around the sun and back here in a galaxy that's spinning and, by the way, moving through the universe, and the universe is expanding. So the scientists say 67,000 miles an hour.
Hmm.
You play the same song again, you do the same prayer again, it's different. You are not in the same place where you were. The starting point is different, so it's going to be different. And that
Hmm.
nuance has some value. Even hitting
Yeah.
the play button and listening to the same recording again, the recording is identical, but we've
Hmm.
changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've moved.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to ever to lose that, I think. And this might be, yeah, this might be something else coming up. I'm starting to see this. There might be something else coming that's motivating my thoughts in this. Um, but every moment is filled with something, very precious.
Yep.
And let's not lose that, because there's so much that's being lost in this. And I'm thinking, like, let's try to hold on to as much as we can. That is us, that comes from us. One of the things that, and I'll say this, and I've never met anybody who understands it. So I'm going to say it anyway. And I'm serious. I admired Prince, Michael Jackson, and a couple of others of course, for their extraordinary talent. But they put so much of themselves in it.
Mm-hmm.
And, one might say until they took them out of here. But here's the thing, they put so much in it. So I'm a weirdo, right? So that God could perform at its best.
Hmm.
And that's what I see when I see those videos and the entertainment. I'm thinking, you you rehearsed 36 hours a day so that spirit could perform at its best. You did that. And I have such huge admiration for that. It doesn't really matter who the entertainer is, you know, it's that's what I see and that's what I appreciate. I don't
Yeah,
want any part of that to be missed.
yeah. The high school orchestra. It's not like they're not working as hard. They're putting the same amount of time and energy, and they just haven't achieved the level of expertise that somebody who's doing the same thing professionally might have done. I'm going to loop this back around. You're talking about AI and taking something away from all of this, and that something is lost. And I'm going to offer up the possibility that it's not lost, that it might shift, and it might only shift for a while. So
Mhm.
when I was a wedding DJ, and this was back in the 1980s, this was before CDs were particularly a thing. There was no such thing as recording direct to digital. So even the CDs were recorded analog and then pressed onto a CD instead of vinyl and cassettes. As a result, I had many record crates filled with vinyl. And
Mhm.
the beginning of the gig and the end of the gig was about schlepping those very heavy crates, usually up a flight of stairs or two, and setting up the turntables, and then pulling them out and cleaning them off, and playing the music, and then putting them back in the crates, making sure that you keep them in alphabetical order so you can find it next time. And thank God that went away. And I got to replace the vinyl with the CDs, and now the CDs have been replaced. But you just bring a computer. It's got all the tracks that are on the computer. And by the way, if there's an internet connection, if you don't have the song, you don't have to go to the department store and buy the music ahead of time. You just download
Mhm.
it off of the iTunes store or play it from Spotify. So it is so much more convenient, so much easier now. I don't think anything is lost. It's like no big deal. And then people who are saying to me, "Oh, but vinyl sounds better." And I think you can think that vinyl sounds better. I know way too much about the technology. Vinyl just sounds different. If you think it's
Mm.
better, then that's great. Here's the part, the reason that I bring that up. There is now a resurgence in people who are buying vinyl.
Mhm.
Kids,
Yeah. Yeah.
youths. They and the funniest part is it's a turntable with a stylus and it's got a USB output. So it's going to be digital somewhere along the way anyhow,
Mhm.
but there's something about going back to that particular vintage, that tradition, and celebrating it. And so it's not lost. And the fact that somebody can have an AI symphony doesn't mean you can't have a real symphony. And as long as there is the enthusiasm and the desire to have a real symphony playing with, the 80 or 122 people getting together and making a joyful noise, then we have the opportunity to do that. And my friend Adrian, who is a professional timpani player, she will every once in a while have the requirement to find people to help her schlep the timpani up into the choir loft. that's that's a job, so she can do that. And other times you can just play a recording.
Yeah, when you say that, it makes me think about back in the old days in church when things were going, in a different direction. And so they'd play CDs.
Mm-hmm.
That just was not cutting it with me. It wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't cutting it. And then you'd have somebody who really did their homework, and they came karaoke style.
Mm-hmm.
They brought the CD and they sang to the CD, and it was like, but there was a disconnect. I don't care how good it was. There was still a disconnect because you couldn't repeat what you normally would be able to repeat if you had a musician and you were, you know, in communication with your musician during the performance. There's a difference,
Oh yeah,
but it's okay. I'll
the CD
live.
player can read the CD, but it can't read the room.
They can't read the
They
room.
can't read the room, and they can't say, "No, we got to do one more verse of that." It's like, no, track is over.
I'll listen. I'll get over it, but it would just it can't. I got too much to do to be spending too much time on what's not going to change anyway. But I did think of it quite a lot yesterday, and there's a song called Hallelujah, and I know you know it. Leonard Cohen did it,
Leonard Cohen song, yeah.
and it's just, to me, it's just crazy amazing, that song, and so many people sing it. But the one I love to hear sing it is Bon Jovi. So I just kind of noticed that Bon Jovi has got to be really tired of singing that song, because poor guy has been singing it for like over a decade wherever he goes. And I thought, he better not hit that stage without singing that song. I don't care where he is, or people going to want their money back.
Hmm.
One time I looked at the concert that he was doing, and I'm telling you, he looked like, I do not want to sing this song. But somehow, they all pulled it off. It was just wonderful. But you bring that a CD or whatever, you bring it digitally and you put that on a concert stage. People want to hear that song. No, no, no. We do not want to hear that. We want Bon Jovi on that microphone.
Right. And if he's going to lip sync to it, we want him to do it believably enough that I
That's
can
right.
believe that he's actually singing it again.
That's right. And I want to see some tears. That's that's how
You're buying a lot with that ticket money.
well, I don't care. I don't care, because I love hearing him, but it just fascinated me to go to the various concerts, play the videos of the various concerts where he did it, and just notice what his face was saying. So I thought, yeah, you can say anything you want. You better sing that song.
I have to sing this song again. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's take another break and then figure out how to turn all of this stuff into a practical
But
prayer.
before
Go
the
ahead.
break,
Go ahead.
I wanted to, because I know Bon Jovi's probably going to hear this. Don't you come to Atlantic City and not sing that song. Okay?
Sheriff says.
Hey.
Get inspiration in an instant. God calls are the gentle and uplifting moment of truth to help you remember that the bright light of God's love is shining right now as you.
It's your God Call with Reverend Bill.
Start your 2-week free trial today, and you'll get a phone call 4 times a week from Reverend Bill with an uplifting half-minute message filled with insight, wisdom, story, and fun.
Let your light shine.
You can answer the call to listen to it live or let it go to voicemail so you can hear it later. After the free trial, your subscription is just $5.95 a month. The details are at godcall.org. God calls are disruptive, intentionally.
Whenever you write something, put on a gold star.
They take you away from your routine to remind you about the truth of who you really are. They come at random times between 8:15 a.m. and 6 p.m., so you won't be expecting them. And somehow, the message is exactly what you need to hear at the time.
Magic is loose in the world.
It's a moment of motivation in the middle of your day. Find out more and start your 2-week free trial now at godcall.org.
Welcome back to the Practical Prayer Podcast. I'm Carol, here with Reverend Dr. Bill Marchiony.
A wonderful conversation about ensembles and live performance and recorded performance and AI performance and who's the composer and all the other richness and details. And obviously AI is not going to be bothered if it has to perform the song one more time. That's one thing that AI has, is infinite patience. So just give it enough electricity and it'll keep on answering the same question the same way over and over and over again. Or changing the answer just because it's interesting to see what happens if you goof with people. Don't know enough about AI goofing with people yet to be able to report back. I did hear that there are people who are using chatbots for healthcare. They'll talk to the chatbot about, well, these are my symptoms. What do you think? And sometimes walking out of the doctor's office because they like that what AI says better. So, happens.
Yeah, I'm listen, I don't have such a problem with that, because I used to go to Google with all my stuff before I went to the doctor. So I know I don't have, I would always say, I bow to your excellence and to your genius, but I go in there with some sense of knowledge of what's going on,
Yeah. And to me, that's about understanding what's the right question. It's not about getting the answer. It's like, okay, steer me towards the right question. Okay, I'm going to confirm these things because my research has suggested this might be the case. Let me see what the doctor has to say. And
Oh,
sometimes
absolutely.
oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. And other times it's like, no, it doesn't work that way.
And I'm open to it. I think, that it's, I think AI is genius. I do. I'm just saying, let's don't give up 100% to it,
Yeah,
because, this is your life. You got to take care of your life.
yeah. And that brings us to the practical prayer. The prayer that I'd like to do today is on playing my part. Because
Mm,
each of us has a part. Each of us is here for a reason. There is a reason that infinite creative power that creates everything has created me and Carol and each of us who's listening in on this particular part of the conversation. So it's an infinite creative power that could create anything, that can and does create everything. And so there's a reason that it created each of us to be right here, right now. You know what that reason is? No, you don't. Nobody does. It's none of our business. We're here to be who and what we are. We have the opportunity to be the gift that we are, to be that unique combination of skills and gifts, talents, abilities, perspectives, orientations, attitudes, and background that we bring to the table, and to be that individualization of the infinite and play our part.
mhm.
And when we play our part in a way that is uplifting and harmonious, and we're in sync with the rest of the band, and the harmonies are coming out beautifully, it's great. And if there's dissonance and discord, it's telling us, let's do something differently. Let's dispense with what we've been up to and engage in something new. And that's part of new thought. Like, you have a new experience that gives you a new thought. You get to change your behavior, have a new behavior, and then a new experience. And we don't have to do it alone. We are playing our part, but it is our part in that divine symphony. So the prayer today is to close our eyes, or do whatever it is we do to turn away from the immediacy of the input that's coming in from the world around us. To allow a little space between the thought that that's all there is to reality and the experience that we're having in here. And understand that it's all subject to change. There is one infinite creative power, one divine presence, one limitless love, one infinite intelligence. We call spirit, God, nature, the divine, or the Big Bang, or happy coincidence. Whatever it is, whatever we call it, it is that one divine essence that is sharing itself, revealing itself, unfolding itself, evolving itself as all of its creation. It started with nothing but itself, and has been unfolding and creating and recombining since the very beginning of time to get to the point where we are today, with all of the richness and diversity that exists in the world around us, with all of these seemingly separate things that are all, in fact, the same at their heart and center and core. And each of us is part of that divine creative presence. Each one within the sound of my voice is a unique individualization of the divine, here for a very special reason, to be the gift that we are, to be aware, to the greatest extent possible, of the gifts that we have, that we can share, that we can bring to the world, and the inspiration to play our part, to engage with the other expressions of the infinite that are around us, to understand that sometimes my part is to sing the lead, and sometimes my part is to sing backup, and sometimes my part is to turn the lights on so the people who are going to sing can see where they're going. Whatever that gift is, whatever it is that we're bringing to make this next experience be what it is, it's God's gift to the world through us. And so the claim that I'm making is awareness, understanding, clarity about the gifts that we have, the ways that we can share them in an uplifting way to bring the highest and best into our experience and the experience of those around us, to be in harmony with that divine symphony that is already and always playing. And I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the wonderful way that each one is playing our part. I'm grateful for the richness, the sweetness, the goodness that is coming about as this combined performance. And with gratitude for all of this good, I speak this word and release it into that creative law that creates everything. And I know it is creating this now. And I let it be. And so it is.
The Practical Prayer Podcast with Reverend Bill Marchiony and Carol Lawrence is a production of BeTheLight.com,
be-the-light.com,
where you can find more information about practical prayer for real results.
Our theme is by Music of Wisdom. You can learn about the spiritual community of New Thought Philadelphia with daily guided meditations,
Weekly celebrations of spirit,
and Reverend Bill's classes in practical spirituality
at newthoughtphilly.org.
Well, that is the Practical Prayer Podcast for Monday, the 17th of November. And thank you, Carol. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun.
I kept thinking it was, you'll laugh at this. I always say when we're going somewhere, whether the kids are there or whatever, I'm getting dressed early, like, because I'm not going to be the one to hold everybody. It's not going to be me that we were late for. So when we were talking about this, I thought, now, wait a minute. I'm not going to be the one who says, think she can't handle the new technology. I wanted to be very clear to the whole world. I'm in it, right?
yeah.
I'm using it, but I do miss the live stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right.
Do you still have vinyl records in your house?
Well, no.
Okay.
No.
I do.
Well, yeah, that was your life. You did that.
It's not even me. It's my wife, a child of the 60s.
Oh,
There's some
okay.
albums that she just won't let go of. And some of them, I did a syndicated radio show and we distributed it by vinyl because that's what was easiest. So I have records of me in one vinyl. And no record player. We have no turntable in the house. We still have half a shelf full of vinyl.
You know what? I do have one. And
Okay.
and that's a souvenir one my daughter gave me for one of my birthdays of Diana Ross. And so I got this one album with the one, the beautiful cover and everything. So yeah, I have nothing to play it on. Doesn't matter. I don't need to play it. It's just there.
You know what it sounds like?
What?
You know what it sounds like. It probably sounds better in your head than it would sound on a turntable.
Probably. And yeah. I guess I'm going to leave this because I'm thinking I am not going to be the one. Like I was a Motown baby, and it was an experience. It was a memorable time. My first time going to the Uptown. You have those milestones in your life, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness. I don't want to lose that, and that's not there anymore for young people to experience that. But
Right.
Hey, it's a new day.
Experience
And
it
I'm not,
differently, and you'll get a turntable.
yeah.
You never
Well,
know.
I'm not going to be the one, so I'm going to play with the AI.
There you go. Thanks you all for joining us. We'll see you again next Monday for another episode of this thing.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.